KT7 up here. This is my 101st video on my channel. Thank you very much for the support. I made a new cover to celebrate this special occasion. Let me know what you guys think. Today, I will review and showcase 140 Lucio plus the 2 Hollow Vision cards that he came with. He is a 100 cost light unit. He has superb elemental resistances, very good bulk, and doesn't rely on the traditional AoE and unit attack resistance to survive. He can be very accurate, and also has many offensive utilities in his kit. These are the items we will go over today. Let's get started. New Lucio is a 100 cost light unit in the Sword Warrior group. His main job can equip swords, heavy armor, and helm. His TMR is an accessory. The stats are HP 298, 12 defense, 6 spirit, and 10 crit evasion. His base stats are very good. Attack is the highest in the game, at 437. His HP is top 10 at 4051. His agility is on the lower side at 57, with 10 more from the board. Luck is at 179, he could be somewhat evasive, but I wouldn't count on it. His attack type resistances are 20 to slash, 20 to pierce, and 10 to magic. Has a -5 to strike, and -10 to missile. It only shows -7 here, because of a VC mastery. Status ailment resistances are 50 to poison, 10 to paralyze, and 50 to disable. The all positive elemental resistances you are seeing are with his support ability equipped. Next, his master ability. Just like his previous version, his master abilities support all elements. It gives his allies 10% max HP, and elemental attack plus 10 to all elements. Also, for Lucio, it gives him 10 AoE resistance and acquired AP plus 30%. At level 140, he gets 20% attack and 20 reaction block rate. Also upgrade to his job level 12 ability to increase the range height by 1. And restore 15 AP if he KO a target. Next, his new sword. The general ability is slash attack 15. And for all light units, it grants them slash penetration 20 and 8 AoE resistance. I recommend getting at least 1 assault and 1 aim. But I don't think this is his best weapon. The UR sword from the Another Story is his best option in my opinion. It has 20 slash attack for everyone. And for both light Lucios, it also grants them attack up 30%, defense debuff resistance 100, and all elemental resistance 10. This is super good for him. You can get and fully max this sword by completing the EX quest under Chapter 1 of Another Story. Moving over to his main job support abilities. Support number 1 has to be on him at all times. It gives him 15 unit attack res, all elemental resistance 12, 20 slash penetration, and physical damage up 10%. That's total of 22 resistance to all elements from his sword and support ability. You can further increase these with Truststone passive and Truststone set bonus. Support ability 2 and 3 are very similar. Both give Lucio 40 defense penetration. Number 2 changes his job level 12 attack from slash type to pierce type, and gives him pierce and magic resistance 12. The other one changes the job level 12 attack from slash to strike type, and 12 resistance to strike and missile. His main job reaction is a counter heal against slash and magic type damage. It has a 60% chance to prop. Recovers 10% HP and restore 10 AP to Lucio. Next, his LB. It is a unit attack with a range of 4 and range height of 1. Select up to 3 targets. Prior to damage, dispel targets protect, then deals a 2-hit large damage. Plus lower targets CT small. This is a pretty good LB. The range is a bit limited, but select 3 and CT down. Just like Alaya's Stag Impact. I am actually glad the range height is only 1, Stag Impact is 2 OP. Now let's go over his buffing abilities. The first one is a cross-shape buff with a range of 1. So he does not need to stand next to his ally to use it. The effects last for 4 turns. Increase the group's unit attack resistance 20, and elemental chain resistance 40. And for Lucio only, restore 20 AP, lower all damage taken 15%, and gives him the dispel effect after damage on all his attacks for 3 turns. He can dispel all buffs after damage. This is very strong and very useful, especially against hasted units, or teams with a supplicant like Shawls and Winter Raph. However, he will multicast this on all his allies before moving forward. Next is Self Buff. Gives him a 3-turn force barrier effect, from range 4 to 7, reduced damage up to 40%. Also boosts his attack by 40% and gives him all elemental resistance 15. Just great, another all elemental resistance buff. I want to point out, the 15% damage reduction from his group buff and the force barrier self buff cannot be dispelled. Moving on to his main job attacks. The first on the list is the job level 12 ability. This is the one that we can change to either strike or pierce. It is a unit attack, select 2 targets from a 4-panel radius. Before damage break their physical damage barrier, then deals damage large. And restore 15 AP if any of the target is KO'd. Having the flexibility to choose the damage type is really cool and adds to his longevity. The second attack on the list is also a unit attack. The range is just 2. First, remove target's courage, deals damage large, and recover 30% of his HP if the target is KO'd. Remove courage check. The third attack is his low AP ability, also a unit attack. Select 2 targets within a 3-panel radius, deal small damage, and remove re-raise. All elemental resistance, remove courage and re-raise. Does he remind you of anyone? Next is job level 25 ability. This is the only AoE attack from his main job and has a range up to 4. Before damage, increase Lucio's defense penetration by 40 for 3 turns, then deals damage large. All his attacks have shorter range, and he is not super fast. He relies heavily on his elemental resistances to take hits, then counters back. Now let's go to his sub-jobs. The 2 abilities from his main job sub are TP skills. The first one is a select 2 stun, and has a 25% success rate. The second ability is a diamond shape AoE buff. Gives the group 15 light and dark resistance for 3 turns, and bestow Dark Killer on them. Any specific elemental resistance buff will stack with his all elemental buff. Moving on to his Strider sub, this is the sub job I like the most. The support ability he gets is Natural Instincts. Gives him 25 accuracy and 40 defense penetration. This is the one I recommend for the current or upcoming Earth evasion meta. The reaction ability is Danger Sense. The 2 notable abilities from Strider are Call of the Wild and Constricting Cleave. Call of the Wild is a 30 accuracy buff for the group and 30/pen for self. During evasion meta, this has to be turned on. Lucio has very good accuracy, but he does not have a sure hit nor a plus 30 accuracy ability. This can help him out. Constricting Cleave, it is notable because it has the longest attack range in his kit. And I usually have this turned off because I don't want him to get baited to attack too soon. He does need at least 2 turns to buff, if not 3. His other sub-job is Pugilist. The support abilities are Flurry Enhancement and Warrior Spirit. The reaction ability is Flurry Counter. The 2 notable abilities are Spirit Breaker and Demon Purger. Both are attacks that will increase the damage modifier if Lucio have taken damage. He is bulky enough to take multiple hits. These 2 abilities could be very useful once we are out of the evade meta. That's all for his kit. Let's go over his 2 VCs. The first vision card here is the New Year's Banquet. It supports Sword Warrior, Bow, Staff Black Mage, and Book. The stats are HP 332, Attack 138, Defense 3, and Dex 48. The party abilities are Elemental Resistance 36, Unit Attack Resistance 16, and Reaction Block Rate 40. The bestowed effects are Attack 10% and 10 AoE Resistance. The Hollow Party ability is for dual content, gives the group /penetration 21. The VC Mastery is Attack 3% and Pierce Resistance 2. This is a good card, Unit Attack Resistance, and Reaction Block Rate. I will talk about which one I like more after the next one. The second VC for him should arrive in Global next week. It is not limited. Supports Sword Red Mage, Sword Warrior, and Sword Knight. That's all 3 of the sword groups. The stats are HP 316, Attack 162, and Defense 3. The party abilities are /Attack 42, /Penetration 28, and Unit Attack Resistance of 20. The bestowed effects are Attack 10% and AoE Resistance 10, which are the same as the first card. The Hollow ability is Crit Evasion 12, and VC Mastery are Max HP and Attack 3%. Both are for Guild Battle only. For Monolite, if you have the FF14 VC, which gives light units 35/penetration, then these VCs are not must-have. Now let's look at these VCs side by side. Both have unit attack resistance and /penetration. Personally, I went for the one from week 2, the one on the right. It has /penetration 28 and 20 unit attack resistance for all 3 sword groups, which most likely will make this a main slot card for Sword Red Mage and Sword Warrior. Sword Knight has the Melnia card, which has agility and unit resistance. For Mono Light, this one works with Winged Stern, Sylvie, and Elena. The one on the left, the week 1 card. It works with the best Lucio team, with Helena and Bartz. However, the problem with this card is, if you have Helena on the team, this card most likely will be in the sub slot because of regular Bahamut. Don't get me wrong, this is a great vision card, but the other one has more long-term value. Let me know which one you are going for. Moving on to his equipments, Espers, and Truststones. His old UR sword is the best in-slot weapon for him. All elemental resistance up, can't beat that. In the second slot, the Maximilian armor is the best, more damage reduction when HP is above 50%. The Marshmallow hat is great for ailment resistances and accuracy. The Alex ring is also good for accuracy and 20 crit rate. However, the +5 all elemental resistance does not stack with his sword. In the TMR slot, give him agility. He is not likely to have enough time to cast a 3rd or 4th buff before getting into attack range. The way I look at Lucio's Espers is a little different. I mainly look for elemental resistances. The light and dark ones such as Anima, Minotaur, and Demon Wall can boost his light or dark resistance to around 50 to start. All other physical Espers from different element are good for him, just go against the current meta. Sildra might be his best Esper at the moment because of Earth Evasion. It counters the element, has top tier accuracy, and high attack value. Moving over to his Truststones. I like the Vital set the most on the left, gives him 5 more resistance to all elements. But if you are going all out for accuracy, go with Luck. On the right, Agility is my go-to, he does need help in that department. Aim set is for accuracy, which you likely will need in the upcoming month. The abilities are listed here with the equipment showing below. I recommend to give him whatever elemental resistance counters the current meta element. That's his main form of damage mitigation. If you are equipping him with the Marshmallow hat, give him healing power or crit rate instead of accuracy. Now let's move on to sample teams. The first team I am featuring is the most dominant light team with Helena and Bartz. The percentages on some of the sub VCs are higher, because I Elder Awakened them. This system should arrive in global within a month. Lucio is on his Strider sub with his main job support ability number 1 and natural instincts for some accuracy. Both of his defense and /penetration starts off at 50, and can go up to 90 and 80 with active buffs. Both his AoE and unit resistance are at 35 to start. But don't worry, his main form of damage mitigation comes from elemental resistance and non-dispellable buffs. With this team, Helena can give Lucio the effect of damage reduction based on the size of the AoE. Bartz can buff his AoE resistance. And Lucio himself has Force Barrier, all elemental resistance up, and a unit attack resistance buff. Both the AoE damage reduction effect from Helena and Force Barrier from Lucio cannot be dispelled. These are the reasons why Lucio can be very tanky. Since the team is a bit slower and does not have haste, Keen Blade is a great way to ensure all the units get to use all the buffs they need. The second team I have prepared features Winged Stern. I gave Lucio the support ability that changes his job level 12 ability to pierce type damage. Since I gave him the week 2 VC, his /penetration start offs at 78 and can be at 108 if he uses Call of the Wild from Strider. His defense penetration, AoE, and unit resistance are the same. Winged Stern is somewhat evasive in this build. All the VCs work with all 3 units. The FF5 card has Man-Eater and accuracy. Very important for this setup. Lucio's job is to go up to the front line, dispel the enemies, soak up damage, and start chains. Bartz and Stern then to come in to cap off the chain. This team is not as strong as the previous team. Helena is just OP in the current meta. The third team I have is the accurate Lucio build. He does not have a +30 hit rate ability and no sure hit. This is all in accuracy, with natural instinct support ability and 2 accuracy vision cards. His in-game hit rate will be at 440% with Call of the Wild active. However, he could still miss against top-tier evasion units. The main VC change is the FF5 card. It is now in the main slot on Bartz for 25 accuracy for the group. You can put this card on Lucio as a main to get 8 more accuracy from the bestowed. But I like the AoE resistance a bit more on him. Also, Helena has the Hope VC for an additional 13 accuracy. If you don't have this card maxed out, you can replace it with Typhoon or Blades of Grass. Lucio has Sildraw and Marshmallow Hat for maximum hit rate. To make sure Lucio casts Call of the Wild, you might need to turn off his main job group buff depending on the map. Or have a Keen Blade user on the team to give them one more turn before engaging. I like this accurate light team a lot. It does not have to sacrifice too much damage for accuracy. Next are a couple of semi-evasive light teams. Lucio is a somewhat evasive unit. These teams can catch people off guard, and it is an option. His luck can be in the mid 500 and around 100 evasion. I don't really like semi-evasion teams, but they can work to a certain extent. Next we have the VCs for the Sword Warrior weapon group. Currently, it does not have an AoE resistance card. And this group can really only team up with the Axe group, which limits them to evasion. The mixed Axe team with Halloween Lucio isn't that strong. It is sacrificing too much damage for evasion. They don't hit very hard. Also, Halloween Lucio is the only true evasive unit. The other two are just okay. I don't recommend it, but maybe in the future, when we get more Axe units. Now my final thoughts on Lucio, Light of Brilliance. He definitely live up to the 100 cost tag. He feels like a new generation unit, and a jack of all trades. He is in between a tank and a bruiser. Both the force barrier and the 15% all damage reduction from his buff cannot be dispelled. Super high resistances against all elements, can counter heal and recover HP on kill hit. Just give him a few elemental resistance passives from Truststone and the right Esper, he can go up against all teams. His damage is not top tier by any means, but he can last a very long time in a fight, and provide many different offensive utilities. His Dispel on hit effect is very OP even though the Dispel is post damage. Has a Select 3 and CT down LB. Can Dispel Protect and remove both Courage and Re-Raise. Lucio can be built to have top tier accuracy. And he can switch the type of his job 12 ability to either Strike or Pierce. These will make him relevant for a long time. However, he could be a bit difficult to use. He requires a lot of agility and turn order adjustments for different maps. His flexible group buff is a double-edged sword. If you don't have the initial turn order set up correctly, he will multicast his buff. Also, his main job attacks have a max range of only 4, and his agility is a bit low. He will need a Keen Blade user next to him to avoid getting hit multiple times before he is close enough to attack. If you are a light player, I would say go for it. He is a very good unit, just requires more attention. A team with Lucio, Bartz and Helena is very difficult to deal with. Now let's go to a few sample matches. The first match of the day is against Mono Ice. Reduce AoE damage based on size, from Helena to Lucio. This buff cannot be dispelled as well. AoE resistance up from Bartz. Then, Lucio's first action. Group buff. Unit attack resistance 20, and elemental chain resistance 40 for the group, for 4 turns. And for himself, restore 20 AP, lower all incoming damage by 15%, and grants Dispel to all his attacks for 3 turns. Second action, self buff. Grants him attack up 40%, all elemental resistance 15, and the force barrier effect from range 4 to 7. This is his LB. Select 3 targets, Dispel Protect, then deals a 2-hit large damage, and lower target CT small. I think A2 survived with less than 100 HP. This is his job level 12 ability. A select 2-unit attack. It is currently set to slash type damage. Before damage break physical damage barrier, then deals large damage. And restore 15 AP if target is KO'd. It also dispelled Howlet's haste. The second match of the day is high accuracy light against light evasion. In this fight, Lucio will need to cast 3 buffs. I gave Helena the bowtie, and Bart's keen blade to give Lucio an extra turn to cast Call of the Wild from Strider for the plus 30 accuracy. That's his group buff. Since it has 2 range, it covers all 3 units. Unit attack resistance 20, and elemental chain resistance 40 for the group, for 4 turns. For self only, restore 20 AP, lower all incoming damage by 15%, and grants dispel to all his attacks for 3 turns. Call of the Wild from Lucio. Accuracy up 30 for the group. And slash penetration 30 for self. This is his third buff. Grants him attack up 40%, all elemental resistance 15, and the force barrier effect from range 4 to 7. Call of the Wild has a higher AI priority than his self buff. You can turn off his main job group buff for Call of the Wild to go first. That's Tiger Maw from Strider. A cross-shape AoE, damage medium, and lower target's attack and magic for 3 turns. Also dispelled all buffs because of his dispel on hit effect. And finally finish off Bradley with a normal attack. The last match of the day is against Mono Lightning. I am bringing Stern to this match. If you haven't noticed already, Lucio has a different Esper for each match. You can really target a specific element with him. If you gear him properly, he can take quite a few hits. Lucio is quite flexible in terms of his placement. Just adjust his agility to avoid unnecessary multicast of the same buff. I think they might be announcing the new lunar unit this coming weekend. I hope it will be a dragon-themed gym, maybe she will pair up well with Lucio. Ash and Shadow links could arrive in GL by end of February. I will upload her 140 showcase then. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Good luck on your pulls. Have a good one.